Lighthouse Point on Sanibel Island. Check out the beach and the waves. If you guys have been watching the Virtual Shelling Network or following me on YouTube, you have probably seen a lot of footage here at this beach at Lighthouse Point. And usually it is calm, the water is clear, the beach is clean, and that is just not the case today. It is so windy and the wind is kicking up the waves, and the waves are bringing in so much beach trash. And you guys know I love beach trash, not the type of trash that people leave behind, but the type of trash that is brought in from the ocean. So look at all of this awesomeness we are going to be looking through today for all kinds of amazing beach treasures. Let me turn around here and show you guys what we have cooking on the other side, so you guys can see the different rack lines. So right here you'll see kind of what I call the fresh rack line, where the water pushes up all of the stuff into the what I call the fresh rack line. And then as the tide comes in or out, they'll form kind of another little rack line, which you see here. And then you'll see another definitive rack line up here where the high tide used to be. And then even we have one more way up here from a previous high tide. So all of this stuff has been collecting over the last couple days. We've had high winds. That's the beauty of winter shelling. We get those nice high winds, and look at all of the stuff. We're gonna have seashells, we're gonna have crab shells, we're gonna have sea life, we're gonna have so many things to look through. I am just so excited. So let's go down here by the water so I can show you guys these parchment worm casings. That's what you're seeing the most of, all of these tube looking things. So when they're kind of wet, they're kind of thick and kind of plumped out a little bit, and a worm actually lives in here when it's alive, and we call them the parchment worm casing. And when they dry out, they kind of flake. You can see this one is kind of flat and flaky, kind of looks like a piece of a latex glove. But these are also homes to crabs, so when they're empty, you'll find some crabs and some sea life that sometimes live in these worm casings. I'm so excited to show you guys all these fun things. Here's a piece of sea pork. So we're gonna find lots of sea pork. If you guys have been watching these videos, you probably know what it is. Here's one that's kind of purple, comes in different colors, kind of yellow, green, red, orange, gray, lots of different colors of sea pork. Here's a crab shell, a little speckled crab. We're probably gonna find lots of crabs. Some of them are gonna be whole and deceased, some of them are gonna be alive. I only take shells if they are empty like this and unoccupied. This is a cool big lightning whelk egg casing. So this is how baby whelks are born. Super fun. Let's see what else we've got over here. Lots of shells. Speaking of lightning whelks, here is a lightning whelk. Let's just make sure nobody is inside. Beautiful. And you have to be careful when you're shelling here, because there's gonna be a lot of deceased critters. So even if they're deceased, just because you can legally take it doesn't mean you necessarily want to. See, here's a little leopard or calico crab shell. Those are very fragile, but I love them. They're so pretty. So just know that, for example, even if you find a crab claw that's detached from a crab, so obviously it's not alive, if it's not dried out and cleaned out by bugs or birds, it's going to be very stinky. Same thing with sea sponges. So look at this sea sponge. It is so beautiful, right? It's bright orange, it's vibrant, it's gonna look great in your shell bowl, but it's not, because when this dries out, it is gonna be so stinky, and you can see how it's kind of trying to turn brown. It's gonna turn brown, the whole thing. It's gonna not only stink to high heaven, but the whole thing is gonna be kind of brown, which doesn't make it not cool, but the smelly part makes it not cool. So when you go to the store, a shell shop, and you see these sponges that are bright orange or bright red or bright blue, they're either dyed or they are spray painted. They don't dry out like that, just know that. Let's see what else we have. I'm still trying to perfect my own preservation method, by the way, guys. I'm working on it, so hopefully I can nail that down pretty soon. So keep that in mind about sponges. And here is a little sea cucumber. So these little creatures are usually squishy, but if they're alive, they'll tense up when they feel threatened. So this little guy is alive, so we're just gonna toss him back into the water. and he'll be fine. And eventually all of this area will be covered with the water and the high tide. So don't feel like you have to throw everything back if you see a crab that's alive or a shell that's alive or whatever. These creatures are very equipped to live from tide to tide. Here's a little piece of another sea sponge that's kind of drying out. This one used to be that same vibrant orange red color that was super pretty, and you can see it's kind of drying out and turning brown. So yeah, it's still cool and it's pretty, but I just want you guys to understand that during the process of drying out, not only is it going to be super stinky, but eventually it's not going to be that color. So just know that, because a lot of times people take them home, put them in their bag, you know, put them in their suitcase, get them home, and then it's super smelly. Here's a couple big blobs of sea pork. Not the kind you eat, but these are trunicat filter feeders that we will find all over the beach. Here's another kind of pinkish one. You can see there too. Ooh, guys, I spy with my little eye a really pretty seashell. So I'm going to give you guys a minute. Let's see if you guys can see it. It's hiding. It's right in the middle. It's a gaudy nautica, and I'm gonna, let me zoom in just a little bit so you guys can see it. Do you see it? Right there. Oh my gosh, and it's big too. Look how pretty. Oh my gosh. It's big, and look at that like beautiful pattern on that. Look how cool. So sometimes these shells are really hiding. You really have to have a good eye to be able to kind of catch a glimpse. So same thing here. There's a tulip, right? You guys see the tulip right in the middle. It's a little beat up, but I see another tulip too. Do you see the other one? It is hiding, and it's hiding good. So I'll give you a second. I'm going to train your eye to find these shells. I'll give you a hint. It's hiding underneath the parchment worm casing. Do you see it there? Right there. It's so pretty. Look how pretty. Always make sure that nobody's inside. But that's such a pretty one. Oh, here's an example of a live, well, I don't know if it's alive, maybe alive, giant heart cockle. And I'm going to show you the animal inside. Now, I don't know if it's alive, so I'm going to find a little stick here to kind of poke. And just to see if he is, oh, there you go. Okay, so you always want to make sure, number one, that they're alive, and number two, you're not sticking your finger in there. Do you see how he closed on this? You will not get your finger out, okay? So be very careful. We're going to put him back in the water and let him live another day. Here's another giant heart cockle. I love finding them when they're still intact or they're still together. And this one might be alive. Yep, that one still has a creature in there, so we'll leave him be. And here's another example of a crab. Now this crab looks like he's clearly not doing well. He's had better days. So pretty little crab, but again, he's not alive anymore. So we're not going to take him home, but he's going to be very stinky. So my advice to you is take a picture of the pretty crab and then wait until you find a crab shell that's already cleaned out. The birds and the bugs have a field day when this stuff washes in. It's literally like a sushi buffet for them. They just love cleaning out all of the scallops and the shells, and it's all the seafood that we pay a lot of money for in the restaurants, and they just get it all on the beach. So here's a little beach trash. We're going to throw this in my shell bag. Here's another giant heart cockle, so pretty. Trust me when I say you do not want to get your finger in that bad boy, but look how pretty. They're always so vibrant and perfect when they're alive. I just love finding live shells. They're just so perfect and pretty. I just love that. So here's a crab shell, and I'm going to show you guys a little trick to getting these guys home because they are so fragile, and they have to be one of the most fragile things we find on the beach. So my advice to you is to find some type of bivalve that's empty, like a giant heart cockle. If you can find one that's still intact, that's the best case. But if not, find two matching sides, and you're going to stick them right in there like that. I mean, you can do this with sea urchins, small sand dollars, crab shells, anything that's really fragile. And then you close it together like a little box and it'll keep them nice and safe. And I'm going to stick this right into my shell bag. And when I get home, as I'm emptying my shell bag, then anytime I have a heart cockle or a clam shell that's together, I'm going to be very careful because I know that there's going to be something inside. So I'm seeing a lot of movement down here. It's like little crab city. Let's see if I can find you guys some little crabs to see. There's so many little crabs running around. They're kind of getting displaced with the waves. So let's see if we can find some little crabs to see. Oh, there's one right there. You can see how cute. Hopefully I'm focused in. Some little baby crabs. Oh, he's looking like he's fighting. He's ready to fight me. Here comes some waves. Here's another really pretty juvenile fighting conch. Almost an adult. And the fighting conchs are hard because you just want to pick up every single one. They're all so unique and pretty in different sizes and different colors and patterns. Oh, and the tide is coming in. And I love it when the tide is coming in because not only is it bringing in new stuff, but it's mixing up all the stuff already on the beach and uncovering things too. So look at this right here. I would have never seen, is this a parawhelk? It is a parawhelk. Like, I would have never seen that. And this awesome conch, this big, beautiful fighting conch, if the waves wouldn't have come in and uncovered it from all the seaweed. So if you can't get out to the beach at low tide, that's okay. I always say the best time to get to the beach is when you can, right? The best time to go shelling is when you can get to the beach. So it's not always about the low tide. I trust me, if you guys watch enough of my videos, I don't always shell at low tide. I shell whenever I can get here. I love shelling anytime I can go to the beach, even if it's high tide, low tide, mid tide, tide is going in, tide is going out. I just shell, and trust me when I say I find some amazing things. So right now the tide is clearly coming in, and it's gonna kind of mix up all this stuff and uncover fun things. There's a little olive, look right here. I would have never seen that. So I'm still kind of looking for, oh my gosh, look at this scallop. So this scallop has the orange periostracum, or the skin on top, because it is alive. You can see the little eyeballs in there. So we're going to put him back in the water. It is so windy out here, so hopefully the wind isn't too bad with my new microphone. I love it when the beach is messy like this. There's just so many fun things to look at. I mean, not just shells, but like sea life, and it's kind of like a scavenger hunt. You're kind of going through and looking for treasures. It's a treasure hunt, really. Let's see what we've got over here. Another pretty scallop. Look at the size of this scallop. Oh my gosh, so pretty white with those maroon patterning at the top there. And I could dig around in all this stuff, but I'm just walking back and forth, and I'm just going to let the waves do it for me. Here comes another wave, so it's going to start to uncover some things. Like, here's another scallop. Look at this pretty scallop. It's got a little chip in it, but that's okay. Listen, if you guys ever have shells that have chips in them, you can always cover them up on a shell mirror or a picture frame by putting another shell over the chip. Oh, look, here's a little paper fig. And oh, here's a little worm shell. I love worm shells. And here's a little paper fig. These paper figs are so fragile, so it's hard to find them perfectly intact. We actually have a few intact today, but we don't tend to see a lot of them intact. They usually end up broken, which is kind of sad. Oh, here's a pretty orange scallop right here. Oh, here, look. I gotta get down so you guys can see. So here is another sponge. Now this one's dried out, so it used to be that pretty orange red, right? And now it's brown. And it's not that it's not cool, it's just not as super pretty, and it's gonna be stinky. So just so you guys know what they're gonna look like, so you know what to expect. Here is a gorgeous sunray Venus. Let's see if he's got somebody inside. I think he does. Yep, he is alive. Beautiful, big, alive sunray Venus. And then here's got another little paper fig. Right here, look how pretty this scallop is. You got to be very careful, because if they're alive, they will close on your finger. Here's another, looks like another big, beautiful, giant heart cockle it's intact. So let me just wash some of the sand out here. Look how pretty. I love finding these intact. Look how gorgeous. So I want to show you guys. So this has a little bit of gunk in there. Do you see right here? Let me see. Right, this little, oh, hold on a second. This little bit of tendon here, this little tissue is still remaining from connecting the shell from the animal. Do you guys see that? So just know that that's got to be cleaned out. So you have two options. You can take it home, put it outside, let the ants take care of it for you naturally, or you can be sure to put it in some bleach water and then use something to scrape all that out, because that's tissue and that tissue will stink. It will be stinky because it's going to decompose and it's going to be really smelly. So sometimes when you have smelly shells, and it's not because there's anything alive or anything in there, it's just there's some tissue remaining in the shell. Ooh, here is a stone crab claw. So again, if they're empty and they've already been cleaned out, totally fine to take. But these are filled with meat, and if you eat stone crabs, you'll know that. You crack open that claw, there's a ton of meat in there. So if these are really heavy when you find them and they're still full of meat, that's going to decompose and smell so bad. It's going to be stinky. Guys, it's a dead body, right? Like it's tissue, it's muscle. So you have to make sure that they are somehow cleaned out, and usually ants are the way to do it. So, but just try to find one that's already empty. That's the best thing. I hope you guys are enjoying this as much as I am looking through all of this beach trash. Oh my gosh, you guys, look. Oh my gosh, it's a mermaid purse. I love finding mermaid purses. For those of you who are Beach Treasure Box subscribers and members of the Virtual Shelling Network, a couple of you did receive mermaid purses for Christmas. These are so fun. They're actually egg casings of sharks or skates, not stingrays, but skates. Stingrays actually give live birth, but this is an egg casing, and they are so super cool to find. We find them on the beach. They're super kind of shiny like this, but this one's empty. You can see it's squishy, so whatever was inside has hatched successfully, which is great. And then as they harden, or rather dry out, they make really cool display items to sit in your shell bowl. So these are one of my favorite beach treasures. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode rummaging through beach garbage with me. I have had so much fun. This is like my favorite type of beach day and shelling day, is to go through all of these parchment worm casings and seaweed and finding all of these amazing beach treasures that have washed up. I hope you guys enjoy this too. Check out the birds, you guys. They are just having an absolute field day going through and feeding off of all of this washed up sea life. I mean, it's literally like a sushi buffet for the birds, and they are just crabs and scallops and clams. They are just having an absolute time of their life. So I hope you guys had so much fun with me on this episode on the virtual shelling. Oh my gosh, you guys, look, here's another one. Oh my gosh, another mermaid purse. Two. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I gotta go find some more of these. If I can find some more of these, I will put them up on my website for you guys to add to your beach treasure boxes. So stay tuned to virtualshelling.com and the shell shop, and I will put some of these for sale for you guys. We've got some dolphin action going on here, so I will go ahead and let you guys enjoy that. Thank you once again so much for being members of the Virtual Shelling Network. If you were watching this on Shelling and On Demand, I hope that you had so much fun and were able to, ooh, my goodness, we got some tail action going on. I hope you were able to experience one of my favorite times to shell when we have big wash-ups like this. So if you have any questions, please do feel free to reach out to me at virtualshelling@gmail.com. And as always, I truly appreciate your support. Enjoy this dolphin action. I will see you guys again next time.